Hey guys, it's May and I know I have been missing. I'm so sorry. I don't even want to get into how busy and we've had sickness in the house and all this stuff going on, but I am back. Thank goodness I am back. And I'm trying a new technique today that I'm calling Wallpaper Technique. And I'm tempted to show you this whether it works or whether it fails, because I just think it's okay to do that because I dreamt this idea and I did it one time already and it kind of worked, and I just want to see how it works this time and we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to show you either way, because if you have a dream, you should try it, and if it fails, try again, right? Okay, so we're going to get started. What I have is 3 sheets of identically cut paper. That's what's important. You want these to be exactly the same height and width. These are 2 by 5, okay? And I cut them to work with the stamp I'm going to use today, which is this one that says Celebrate, just a big long stamp. The first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of temporary adhesive on our cutting mat, or if you don't have a cutting mat, you can just get like a piece of cardboard and put a definite mark, like a line on it, and use that for your guide. But I'm going to use this 45-degree angle as my guide, and I'm going to put a little temporary adhesive onto my mat. That'll just roll right off when I'm done with it. And I'm going to place one of these cards on this line, and I have to know where I'm going to go because it matters. So I'm going to go to this little mark right here. I'm going to use that mark as my guide and place that on that line. So now I know where it is. Now, if you have a stamp positioner, this is where you'll use that, but I don't have one. So my little boy Joe made me this one with his Legos. We were watching a video actually of a lady who used the jumbo Legos and it worked, and I was like, that's amazing, and I will link her below so you can see her video, what she did. But we made it with little Legos, and I'm going to sit that here. Now the reason is I want to make sure that I stamp in the same place on all 3 pieces of paper. Now I'm going to try to do ombre on this one. I didn't on the last one, but we're going to try to. So I'm going to start inking with some tuxedo black. If this works, we'll see it together. If it doesn't, we'll see it together. How about that? I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I hope it didn't give me a whole bunch of thumbs down, but it might, and that's okay because everybody has their opinion. Okay, so I've inked this up with tuxedo black from Memento. See me shaking because I shake. And now I'm going to put this in this corner and stamp it down. And I'm going to hold it really good and firm because I want it to be very black. This first one needs to be as dark as I can get it because we're going for the ombre. That worked. Very good. Now we can move our stamp positioner, remembering where we're going to put our next piece. Pick this one up. And because we already have our stamp on the block, we know that'll be okay. We just want to bring this one to the very same spot. Just like so. Okay. Put our homemade Lego positioner there. And now I'm going to stamp this in gray, because I have some London Fog gray. So I'm going to just ink right over that black. I didn't clean it or anything, because I don't have 3 shades of this color. So I'm just trying to get 3 different shades of stamp. Alright, so I have my stamp positioner. Sit it down, press it, let it get on there good. Okay, so there's a shade, and we'll put that over here. Now you can imagine we're going to do the last one. Same place. Okay, put our stamp positioner. Now because I don't have another shade of the black and the gray that I'm using here on these two that I stamped, I'm going to do a stamp off of the black and see if that works. If it won't, I'll do a stamp off of the gray and we'll see if that works. What this is 2nd generation stamping. That's what I'm going to do. So I have this piece of scrap here. So I'm going to stamp on this scrap one time, just kind of lightly, to kind of take some of that ink off. And then I'm going to come to my piece and stamp on it, whatever's left. Yeah, and see how that's a little lighter than the gray? So now I should be able to get my ombre effect, or pretty close to it. Alright, if you have the perfect 3 shades of ink, you won't have to do all that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, first thing is I'm going to clean this off of my mat so that I'm not having a problem later. And you may have some on your card, or on your cardstock where you stamp. No big deal, just kind of knot that back. You hear the footprint? That's Trixie running through. She's so silly. She just went outside. She likes to be crazy when she comes in. Okay, so I got all that done. Now I'm going to get my paper slicer. Okay, now we could possibly make 3 sentiments out of this. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to divide the length of our sentiment plus whatever edging we want on either side by 3. So I'm going to measure this with my ruler. And I know that this is 4 inches roughly because I measured it earlier, but if I add a quarter to each side, I'm going to be dividing 4 1/4 into 3 equal parts. Okay, so now that I have cut this down to 4 1/4, and that way I have a quarter on each side of my sentiment, you want to make sure you have enough when you're stamping, and then you can cut it down. We're going to divide this by 3. Now to do that, I'm going to cut this in 3 pieces. I'm going to cut it at 1 7/16. And that's going to be, you know, that's a little more difficult to follow. But I'm going to do 1 7/16. To do that, you're going to find your 1 and then count the small lines till you get 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to cut right here. Okay. So I've cut that one down, and now I'm going to do the same. If you want to make it easier, it's 3/8 plus 1/16, which is 7/16. So just go there and drop this blade down. Now these should be fairly equal. They're not going to be perfect, but they're going to be close. It's pretty close, okay? So you can do that with all 3 pieces. Okay, so what you end up with is the 3 pieces that we stamped are now in 3 separate piles. Goes like this, so we can get our gradient. So I'm going to move these aside for a second while we cut one more piece of paper. And this piece needs to be cut to 4 1/4. You want this to house the entire greeting. This will all make sense in a second. You can cut it a little bit shy so you don't have to trim it down later. So I'm going to cut it a tiny bit shy, and I'll show you what I mean. So now this piece becomes our base for all of our trimmed pieces for us to do our wallpaper technique. Okay, so what I've done is gone through all of these that I stamped, and I picked the ones I think are the best. If you had 3 different color inks, this would work perfect. I just don't. I'm having to make one work, and it's not perfect, but we're going to go with it. I told you that it might not be perfect. I do not need these, but I can use them to make other ones. I can make 2 more out of those. So now I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to use the light, the slightly darker, and then the darkest to give me that ombre effect. Okay, so here is what we will need. This is that piece that we cut slightly smaller than our actual Celebrate piece, and I'm going to put tape all over this. I've found from doing my sample that putting the tape on this piece is easier than putting the tape on these pieces. It's easier to put it here than here because you may run over the edge some. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the center piece, and I'm going to kind of eyeball the center. This doesn't have to be perfect because we can trim it and straighten it up and all that good stuff. I'm not pressing down yet. I'll press down once I get them all right. Now you're going to line this up with it. The reason that one doesn't have to be perfect is because you're going to line the word up, not the paper, and then we're going to trim it to make it all clean. Okay, so you can see how even though we use a positioner, we're slightly off on one of them. That's okay. I'm just going to trim the edges down. And there we go. An ombre wallpapered effect. Very subtle here. I wish I could make that darker, but I just don't have the ink to do it. But I think you get the idea. That is one. Let me show you how I use it in a card. This is the card I made on my sample. Now, can you see the 3 colors? It really shows up well in the 3 colors. This is red, this is green, and this is yellow. And I did it exactly the same way, just on a bigger piece of paper with a larger stamp. I stamped it 3 times using the positioner, just like I showed you. And I got this neat 3-color effect. Now, I did go back and color in a little bit on this candle because I thought it needed a little color. But that's it. That's the wallpaper effect. What do you think? Do I get points for at least trying on that one? Let me know. I know it's not perfect. I wish I had 3 different color inks. But you know, this is a reason for me to buy some more ink now, huh? I guess I have to do that because I do want to try it with some actual 3 different shades of ink. I think that'll be cool, like I did here with the colors. So give this technique a try. Tell me what you think. Have you seen it before? Maybe somebody else knows how to do it right. I just literally had a dream one night and I went, I'm going to try that. I also wonder how this would look if we actually inked the pages in between so you could really see the differences. But I think it's pretty cool to see the 3 colors like that. You get 1 sentiment, but 3 colors. So there you go. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys on Friday.